kindergarten room. Well, I guess I pointed out, we kind of got roof leaks everywhere. But I mean, there's where it's at in this room. The carpet was put in back in 1999 when we decided to try to do something with this building. Or we didn't know what we were going to do, so we did everything kind of a little bit on the low end. But you do have some roof leaks in this room too, back in that corner. And I keep saying the roof leak thing is because we put on a 15-year roof back in 1999.
And some of this stuff will be salvaged.
These lockers are going to go through.
Okay.
You know, there's things, I mean, if we're going to tear the place down, the doors, locks, these lock sets, you know, obviously there's nothing wrong with them. And they're about $350 new.
Wow.
And so we'll try to keep every one of them, and they get used because lock sets don't last forever. So just don't worry.
Is there any salvage for the cabinetry and stuff like that?
Well, the cabinetry, all this cabinets,
Or they're all built in?
they
so
are
they're-
built in, and so I mean, how do you take them out to do stuff with it? A lot of it was all built as one piece. Like the bottoms are all one piece going across. It was all kind of built in place. So I don't know how you do that. I guess I was telling the other board members, there's a tunnel that runs all the way around this building along the outside walls. It's about 3 feet wide and 4 feet deep. And what that was is the old building was heated by steam. It heated this part of the building also, and so it was where all the steam lines went.
Okay.
And so those steam lines, I mean, they don't contain a lot of asbestos. They're wrapped with like a tar paper substance, but it does have asbestos in it. And if we tear the building down, we don't necessarily probably have to deal with it. It just becomes, you can have a certain amount of asbestos in a building when you tear it down.
Okay.
So that can probably be left in there. There's floor tile underneath this carpet that's it's asphalt asbestos. Again, very little amount of asbestos, but it's there. So if you were selling the building, that all has to be known. But the old building used to sit right here. The old 3-story structure used to sit right here. We did everything that the city required when we tore that down, but the walls are only down about 6 feet below the surface. And so when we sell the facility, I mean, that has to be known because it's probably going to be, if somebody decides to build a house here and they hit this old foundation, that would be kind of an eye-opener. But that you can see where it used to set. The cement floor was all busted up, but the walls and footings are still down. And of course you had the kitchen here, which I don't know how Head Start kept that to be kept that going to meet standards, but they didn't. All these stains you see on the floor here, those are actually roof leaks. I had to point this out because this is the main electrical service coming into the building. Most of it is fuses.
Wow.
Actually, this is actually fuses too. But that's the main electrical coming in to feed this. The canopy over here, let me point that out to the other guys. This canopy is just going to fall off one of these days. I almost came over with the tractor and loader and knocked it off, so I didn't have to worry about it falling. But it's coming loose from the building, and of course the steps below it aren't any better. It's one of these things that how much money you keep putting into it.
Our intent was to have this building moved about a year and a half ago, and hanging on just because people needed it.
Yeah.
And Don's been good enough to keep it operational.
This is basically, this used to be the old locker room.
Oh, wow.
It got turned into the boiler room when we tore the old building down, because we had to have some place to put the boilers and stuff. These two boilers right here are what have been heating this building since 1999. And they were the budget boilers. I mean, these weren't the deluxe ones. And they're all pulse boiler. The bottom half of this is like a cement culvert. I call it a hog pan, but that's kind of what it is.
Okay.
That's kind of fell apart, and I glued it all back together with high temp silicone. But it's one of the things where it isn't gonna keep going forever. It's getting about to the end. This gymnasium, because they were built with the exact same blueprints.
Okay.
You know, the difference is, you have a building here, you do not know what's gonna happen to it, versus a building that you plan on utilizing, and you keep on sticking money in, ready to go.
Yeah, this building didn't get the other addition that like
No,
Garfield got
they
either.
did not get
Garfield
that.
got that new addition, and McKinley got the new addition.
Yeah. And then the Kinley got another new addition.
Right.
But, you know, the difference is this one, the size of what's left here, what do you do with this, and keeping it maintained. Either we stick a bunch of money into it now, or we let it go, so.
Demo it, or sell it as is, and maybe someone wants to use it, the lots and whatever. And so we're trying to get a little bit of a price on what the lots might be worth, and a little bit of a price of what it might cost to demo it, whether we have heavy equipment operators kind of do some of it. But we'll be bringing some more questions to the school board so they can give us some